What if the one thing quietly wrecking your blood sugar every single morning was something you're completely ignoring? And what fixes it is sitting right in your kitchen, probably in a jar you haven't touched in months. Millions of people are popping metformin, cutting carbs, avoiding fruit like it's poison, and their numbers still won't budge. But here's what most doctors never get around to telling you. There is one tiny seed, and I mean literally one type of seed, that when you chew it on an empty stomach in the morning, it starts working on your blood sugar before you've even had breakfast. Not supplements, not powders, not some expensive extract, an actual seed. We're talking about fenugreek seeds. And by the time this video is done, you're going to understand exactly why this seed is one of the most well-researched, clinically backed natural tools for blood sugar management on the planet, how it works at a cellular level, how to use it correctly, and the mistakes that make it completely useless. Stay with me because this is going to change your morning routine. So let's start from the beginning. What exactly is fenugreek? Fenugreek, its scientific name is Trigonella funum-greecum, is an ancient medicinal herb that's been used in India, the Middle East, and North Africa for literally thousands of years. The seeds are small, hard, yellowish-brown, and have a slightly bitter taste with a faint maple-like aroma. You might have seen them in curry spice blends or heard about them for boosting milk supply in nursing mothers, but those are just two of many uses. What makes fenugreek special for blood sugar is something that goes way deeper than folk medicine. There are now dozens of clinical trials and peer-reviewed studies backing up what traditional healers figured out centuries ago. And the more researchers dig into this seed, the more impressive the findings get. So here's the science, and I promise to keep it simple. Fenugreek seeds are loaded with a type of soluble fiber called galactomannan. This is where the magic starts. When you chew these seeds on an empty stomach, that fiber forms a thick, gel-like substance in your stomach and intestines. Think of it like a gentle sponge. This gel physically slows down how fast carbohydrates are digested and absorbed into your bloodstream. Now, why does that matter? Because blood sugar spikes happen when carbohydrates rush into your blood too quickly. Your pancreas panics and dumps out a flood of insulin to handle it. Over time, those repeated spikes and crashes are what damage your cells, wear out your pancreas, and lead to insulin resistance. Fenugreek essentially acts as a speed bump for that entire process. The glucose enters your blood more slowly, more evenly, and your body has a much easier time managing it. But that's not all. Fenugreek also contains compounds called 4-hydroxyisoleucine. That's a unique amino acid found almost nowhere else in nature, and it directly stimulates insulin secretion from the beta cells in your pancreas. So it's not just slowing glucose absorption, it's also helping your body produce insulin more efficiently at the same time. That's a 2-for-1 effect that very few natural substances can claim. A landmark study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed type 2 diabetic patients who took fenugreek seed powder for 8 weeks. The results showed a significant reduction in fasting blood sugar, post-meal blood sugar spikes, and even LDL cholesterol. Another study from the Journal of Diabetes and Metabolic Disorders found that people who consumed soaked fenugreek seeds daily for just 2 months saw their HbA1c levels, that's your 3-month blood sugar average, drop meaningfully. These aren't tiny pilot studies. These are real people, real numbers. Now, here's the part everyone wants to know. How exactly do you use this seed to get results? The method matters more than most people realize. There's a big difference between just sprinkling fenugreek powder on your dinner and actually doing this correctly. Let me walk you through exactly what works. The first and most effective method is soaking the seeds overnight and chewing them on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. Take 1 to 2 teaspoons of whole fenugreek seeds. You can find these at almost any Indian grocery store or health food shop for just a few dollars. Put them in a small glass of water the night before and let them soak for at least 8 hours. By morning, the seeds will have swelled slightly and softened. Drink the water first, it's full of nutrients, and then chew the seeds slowly. Yes, they taste a bit bitter. That bitterness is actually part of the mechanism. Those bitter compounds stimulate digestive enzymes and bile production, which helps with glucose metabolism too. If the bitterness is too much at first, you can chase it with a small glass of water. The second method is fenugreek seed powder mixed with warm water. Take half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seed powder, the seeds ground into a fine powder, and stir it into a glass of warm water. Drink it 20 to 30 minutes before your first meal. This is slightly less potent than chewing whole soaked seeds because grinding breaks down some of the fiber structure, but it's still effective and much easier for people who struggle with the texture or taste of whole seeds. The third method is adding soaked seeds to your morning smoothie or yogurt. If you're someone who makes a morning smoothie or eats plain yogurt or oatmeal, you can blend the soaked seeds right in. The fiber still works, the active compounds are still there, and it's much easier to get it down if you're new to the taste. Just make sure you're consuming it before or at the start of your meal, not after. Timing actually changes how well this works. A fourth option that's gaining popularity is making fenugreek tea. Lightly crush 1 teaspoon of seeds using a mortar and pestle, or just the back of a spoon. Drop them into boiling water, let it steep for 5 to 7 minutes, strain, and drink it warm on an empty stomach. Some people find this the easiest way to get it in daily without any chewing. It's mild, it's warm, and it pairs well with a morning routine. And the fifth method, which works beautifully for people managing blood sugar around meals, is using fenugreek powder as a spice in cooking. Mix it into dals, soups, stews, bread dough, or even scrambled eggs. It won't give you the same concentrated pre-meal effect as taking it on an empty stomach, but used consistently as part of every meal, it still meaningfully slows glucose absorption throughout the day. Think of it as background protection that's always working. Let's talk about dosage and how long before you see results. Most studies that showed significant blood sugar improvements used between 5 and 25 grams of fenugreek seed per day. That's roughly 1 to 5 teaspoons. But here's the important thing. You don't start there. You start low and build slowly. Begin with just half a teaspoon of soaked whole seeds or powder per day for the first week. Your gut needs time to adjust to the extra fiber. If you jump straight to a full tablespoon on day 1, you're going to spend the next 48 hours dealing with bloating and gas, and you'll never want to touch fenugreek again. After the first week, move up to 1 teaspoon. After 2 weeks, you can try 1.5. Most people land comfortably at 1 to 2 teaspoons per day as their sweet spot. Give it a minimum of 4 weeks before you judge whether it's working. Blood sugar regulation isn't something that changes overnight. Your cells are adapting, your gut microbiome is shifting, your insulin sensitivity is slowly improving. The studies that showed the best results ran for 8 to 12 weeks of consistent daily use. So if you try it for 3 days, feel nothing, and give up, that's not a fair test. Treat this like any other lifestyle intervention. Consistency over time is what creates change. Now, why specifically the morning? Why does this work better on an empty stomach? This is such an important question, and most people never think about it. Your body has something called the dawn phenomenon. Early in the morning, typically between 4 and 8 a.m., your liver releases stored glucose into your blood as a way of preparing your body for the day. Cortisol and growth hormone both rise in this window and signal the liver to dump glucose. For people with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, this can cause fasting blood sugar to be higher in the morning than it was the night before, even if they haven't eaten anything. When you take fenugreek first thing, before food, the fiber sets up in your gut before any food arrives. It's like laying down a safety net before the glucose wave hits. The 4-hydroxyisoleucine compounds get to work priming your insulin response before your pancreas is hit with a full load. And the bitter compounds start activating your digestive enzymes, getting your metabolism switched on and calibrated properly before your first meal hits. Studies comparing morning fenugreek consumption to evening consumption consistently show better fasting glucose outcomes when it's taken in the morning. The timing isn't just a habit thing, it's physiologically meaningful. Now, let's clear up some of the most common mistakes and myths, because these are killing people's results. The first big myth is that fenugreek supplements in capsule form are just as good as the whole seeds. This is something a lot of supplement companies would love you to believe. Here's the truth. When you take a capsule, the gelatin or cellulose shell delays the release of the compounds. More importantly, the physical act of chewing whole seeds, or even drinking the water from soaking them, releases active compounds in a way that capsules cannot replicate. The fiber in whole seeds forms that gel matrix in real time in your gut. Encapsulated powder doesn't behave the same way. Some capsule forms have shown benefits in studies, absolutely, but whole seeds or fresh powder dissolved in water consistently outperform capsule supplements. Save your money and use the real thing. The second mistake is taking fenugreek after meals. So many people just throw it into their food or have it as an after-dinner tea. That's better than nothing, but it misses the mechanism. The whole point of the fiber is to slow glucose absorption before the food arrives. If you take it after you've already eaten, the glucose from that meal is already entering your bloodstream. You're behind the curve. Front-load the fenugreek. Take it before, not after. The third mistake, and this one is surprisingly common, is not drinking enough water. Fenugreek fiber absorbs a lot of water to form that gel in your gut. If you're dehydrated, it can cause constipation and digestive discomfort instead of helping you. Every time you take fenugreek, drink at least 1 full glass of water with it. And make sure you're hitting your general daily water goal. The fiber works best in a well-hydrated gut. And the fourth myth is that fenugreek is a cure. It is not. It is a powerful, evidence-backed, supportive tool, but it works best when combined with a low glycemic diet, regular movement, adequate sleep, and stress management. Blood sugar regulation is a full-body, full lifestyle project. Fenugreek is one excellent piece of that puzzle, a piece that a surprising number of people are missing. What makes fenugreek even more worth adding to your routine is everything else it does beyond blood sugar. First, it's a serious gut health booster. That galactomannan fiber acts as a prebiotic, feeding the beneficial bacteria in your colon. A healthier gut microbiome is directly linked to better insulin sensitivity. Research in recent years has made it increasingly clear that your gut bacteria play a massive role in how your body handles glucose. So by improving your gut flora, fenugreek is creating a secondary path to better blood sugar control. Second, fenugreek has meaningful anti-inflammatory effects. Chronic inflammation is one of the key drivers of insulin resistance. When your cells are constantly inflamed, they stop responding properly to insulin signals. Fenugreek contains antioxidant compounds, including flavonoids and polyphenols, that help reduce systemic inflammation. Less inflammation means more responsive cells, which means better glucose uptake. Third, several studies have shown fenugreek helps reduce LDL cholesterol and triglycerides while mildly improving HDL. For people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, cardiovascular risk is a major concern. Having a single food that simultaneously helps with glucose and lipid profiles is genuinely valuable. Fourth, fenugreek has been shown to support healthy testosterone levels in men, improve exercise performance, and reduce appetite by making you feel fuller longer. That last benefit is particularly useful for people trying to manage their blood sugar through diet. If you're not as hungry, you're less likely to reach for high glycemic snacks between meals. Now, before you run out and buy a bag of fenugreek seeds, there are some important things to know about who should use caution. Pregnant women should avoid fenugreek entirely. It has uterine-stimulating properties and has been traditionally used to induce labor. This is not something you want to experiment with during pregnancy. People who are on blood sugar-lowering medications, including insulin, metformin, glipizide, or similar drugs, need to be aware that fenugreek can enhance the glucose-lowering effect of those medications. That's actually a good thing, but it means you need to monitor your blood sugar more carefully when you first start, especially if you're on insulin. The combination could push your levels lower than expected, and hypoglycemia is a real risk if you're not watching. People with allergies to peanuts or chickpeas should exercise caution, since fenugreek is in the same legume family and cross-reactivity is possible. And if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, be aware that fenugreek has mild anticoagulant properties and could interact. Let me give you one final practical piece of advice on making this a permanent habit instead of something you try for 2 weeks and forget. Every Sunday night, measure out your week's worth of fenugreek seeds into a small jar. Keep that jar right next to your bed or on your bathroom counter with a small cup. Every night before you brush your teeth, take out your 1 to 2 teaspoons of seeds and drop them in the cup with water. By morning, they're ready. You don't have to think about it, find the bag, measure anything. It's already done. The simpler you make the habit, the more likely you are to actually do it every day. Pair it with something you already do every morning. The moment you wake up, drink the soaked fenugreek water and chew the seeds before you do anything else. Before coffee, before phone, before news. Make it the very first thing. That morning anchor point is what turns a new behavior into an automatic routine. Track your fasting blood sugar for the first month. Write down your number every morning before and after starting fenugreek. Seeing the actual numbers change on paper or on your glucometer is the most powerful motivator to keep going. Give your body the full 8 to 12 weeks to show you what it can do. Before you begin, please have a conversation with your doctor or healthcare provider, especially if you're currently on any diabetes medications, blood pressure medications, or blood thinners. While fenugreek is a natural food with an excellent safety profile, it is pharmacologically active, and your doctor needs to know you're using it so they can monitor your levels appropriately. This video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personalized medical advice. Your healthcare team knows your full picture. Work with them, not around them. If this gave you something genuinely new to work with, hit that like button. It helps more people who are searching for real answers about blood sugar find this video. Subscribe if you want more evidence-based health content delivered straight to you. No fluff, no scare tactics, just real information you can actually use. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever tried fenugreek before? What was your experience? And if you're starting today, let me know. I read everything. And in the next video, we're going deep on the one mineral that over 80% of people with type 2 diabetes are deficient in, and why replenishing it could be the missing link in your blood sugar control. You do not want to miss that one.